Hello folks, this is Kerry Farr. Welcome to today's edition of In Your Corner. In Your Corner is the show that shares amazing stories of men and women who have been knocked down by the circumstances of life but got up and became champions. And we do this so that you can become the champion you were meant to be. And we've got a real champion with us today. Bernard Swiftkick Robinson. We're actually in his gym, was a 3-time kickboxing champion. Folks, stick around. You're going to be thrilled to hear this amazing story. Bernard, thank you so much for joining us on In Your Corner, but letting us use your gym today to film this interview.
Hey, you're more than welcome, man. More than welcome. So what do you think about the place?
I think you've got an amazing gym. Let's go ahead and do a commercial. Where are you located?
I'm at 403 Harding Industrial Drive.
In Nashville, Tennessee.
Yes, sir.
So folks, wherever you come from all over the world, when you come to Nashville, Tennessee, you come to 403
Harding
Industrial Road and come to Bernard Swiftkick's Robinson's gym, and they can get an autograph. They can even get a workout with you.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Well, you've had great success in the kickboxing world. How did you get started, in kickboxing?
It's a funny story. I had a temper problem when I was a kid, and my parents took me to the karate school, and they motivated, channeled my energy, and I started when I was 9 years old, and that's how I started. My parents were advocate bowlers, so that's how it all started.
They were bowlers?
Yes, sir. There was the bowling alley out across the street, the karate class.
Isn't that crazy? They were bowling for dollars, and you over there in the kickboxing
yes,
class.
Sir. Yes, sir.
Did you start fighting in tournaments right away?
About 2 years into it, yes, sir.
And I think your dad was military, so
yes,
you probably
sir.
traveled all over.
Yes, sir.
And had a lot of opportunities to probably kickbox in a lot of different places.
Yeah, enjoyed it, loved it.
Well, yeah, you've had great success. What would you if somebody wants to become a champion? I read somewhere recently that if you want to be great at something, you need to put you need to devote 10,000 hours into it.
Yeah.
You've got 10,000 hours in this discipline, I'm sure.
Oh, absolutely. Being great is a lot of little things done very well and often.
Yeah, and so you teach those things still today?
Yes, I mentor a lot of the guys around here in this area. A lot of the kids come here, a lot of them come from broken homes and stuff like that. It's my way of giving back, you know what I mean?
It is.
I want to help these guys become more than just the #1 drug dealer or something like that along those lines, you know what I mean?
So
I want them to channel their energy into something positive.
So is that how you would take a young man that's struggling with stuff like that?
Oh yeah, I got a few of them in here.
And what would you do?
Well, #1 is I want to talk to them and make sure where they are physically, and then check on their home life. And if they're going to school, I want them to bring me their report card. I take some off their tuition, and some guys can't afford their tuition, so I have them to clean up the gym, little things like that. And I mentor these guys. Some guys, hey, you bring me 2 A's in your report card, we'll go play top golf. So a lot of guys that don't have that opportunity.
So you use it as a ministry, as a way to minister to kids?
Yes, sir.
That's awesome. Bernard, I was a professional boxing trainer for over 20 years of my life, and I had one guy that was just a thug that didn't know how to fight. And when I taught him how to fight, he just became a thug that knew how to fight.
Yeah.
And the sad thing was the guy fought for 2 world championships. He was very talented, but sometimes you can't reach everybody, and I hated that I taught this guy how to fight because he just became a bully.
Yeah, exactly right, and it happens. And I tell them, the minute you guys get into an altercation outside the gym, you're no longer a part of my organization anymore. Well,
I think that's admirable.
Yeah.
Now, tell us some of the highlights of your career as a kickboxer.
The old saying is, the better shape you're in, the more money you're worth. We got a phone call 3 weeks, a 3-week notice to go to Japan and fight David Okamoto in Japan. At the time, I was ranked #4 in the world, so we had everything to gain, nothing to lose, really. So we went over there and just demolished this kid. And then from that point on, people started taking hey, wait a bit, check out this Swiftkick guy. We don't take him too lightly. And that was the the pinnacle of my career to open the door for me, so to speak.
You know, I once went to the great matchmaker Teddy Brenner's office in New York City when he was with Top Rank. He'd been the matchmaker at Madison Square Garden for years. And I had a guy that was a continental champion, and I was trying to get him a world title fight. Mm-hmm. And I went in there and I mentioned the guy's name. And he said, you go downstairs on the street corner in New York City and you start hollering that guy's name and tell me how many guys know his name. Mm-hmm. And basically what he was telling me was that my guy wasn't going to sell any tickets. But he said, here's what you do. You go home and you get that guy in good condition, good enough condition to take a fight on 2 or 3 days' notice, and an opportunity will come along. And so you basically were ready because you had a 3-week notice. Yeah. And you went and won a world championship.
Yes, sir.
So what happened after that?
The phone started ringing. more, you know what I mean? Opportunities started to present themselves. And everybody at that point that they put in front of me, I would just take them out. And then after about 2 months of that, the phone stopped ringing. And I was like, what's going on? You know what I mean? What's going on? Nobody wants to fight you. Nobody wants to fight you. So I kind of got depressed for a few months, and you know, I'm thinking when you're world champion, it's like you're in the woods with an orange vest on. Everybody hit the guy with the orange vest on. You know what I mean?
That's right.
But nobody.
You're a target.
Nobody was coming. So I got so depressed, man, and things that I was like, I can't figure it out. So my whole goal in life was to become world champion. So once you get this goal, you know, what's next, right? Everything you've done up to that point has prepared you for that moment. The moment's here, you seize the moment, but now there's nobody want to take you further.
Take you further.
Yes, sir. So what I had to do was go up and wait, fight for another world title.
To find somebody, you had to go up and wait.
Yeah, that was a bad idea.
They're bigger and stronger.
Yes, sir.
And folks, we're in Bernard's gym, and there's a train going by. Don't pay any attention to that train. We're getting this wonderful knowledge from Bernard here. Swiftkick, they call you.
Yes, sir.
Now, let me ask you a question. What type of karate, what style of karate were you a world champion in? And explain the differences.
Well, you know, different organizations. You got WKA, which is World Kickboxing Association. It used to be World Karate Association. And then you got the IKF, International Kickboxing Federation, where their fights are international. And then you have the ISKA, International Sport Kickboxing Association. There's so many. But WKA is it was a bigger one when I was up and coming. That was a major organization, along with the ISKA. And I have those 2 world titles as well. And then I went back and I fought for the other world title in WKA. Went back down and weight and got my belt back. So
you knew what to do, didn't you?
Yes, sir.
Now, you know, I was in professional boxing most of my life, and the difference I always thought in professional boxing and in kickboxing was that you could generally, as a rule, make more money in professional boxing than you. But in your case, I think you've earned a pretty good sum of money in kickboxing.
Yeah, I did very well.
Now, how did you do that? Was it, sponsorships after the deal, or?
Yes, a lot of sponsors and marketing. If you have a great hamburger and nobody knows about it, you just have a great hamburger on the shelf. But once you get it out there and start, you know, letting everybody sample it, then everybody wants a piece of it. So that's what I did. I knew absolutely nothing about marketing and about, you know, PR person. You got to have that type of. You got to have 4 people. You got to have a public relation, deal with public relations. You got to have an agent. You got to somebody that's going to get you out there, and you got to have a manager, because you don't have time to do all 3 of those things. You get your main objective: stay training. Stay training. Keep your nose to the ground. Keep training, and it's business. The better shape you're in, the more money you're worth. The healthier you are, the more money you're worth.
Yeah. You know, Bernard, we were talking a few weeks ago when we were here. We were talking about all these young African-American men that don't have any opportunity in the inner city. And, you know, here, you know, you grew up in a military family, had a mother and a father. Mm-hmm. And so you grew up in a very structured lifestyle, mm-hmm. and you were able to make it. What about that young man that's watching the television now and he can emulate with you. You say, hey man, this guy's a world champion kickboxer, owns a business, and I want to be like him. What would you tell that young man that he needs to do to become, more like you as a role model?
Stay true to yourself, stay true to God, and stay true to your dreams, and never let anyone deteriorate you from your dreams. And
stay focused is, I guess, what you're saying.
Yeah.
And you're a man of faith. You believe in the Lord and follow Jesus, and so has that helped you at all in your life?
Oh yeah.
I know we'd interviewed our common friend Jerome Coffey right here in your gym, and Jerome said he started calling out to God in between rounds when he was fighting.
Yeah, yeah. I get emotional.
We gotta go to a break anyway. It's all right to get emotional.
Yeah.
What is it that makes you emotional? Thinking about.
Some of the kids.
Yeah.
They're coming here.
From bad circumstances.
Yeah.
See, now, friends, if you're watching out there and you think you're Billy Bad or something, and that, big boys don't cry, here's a man that was a 3-time world champion kickboxer, and he has a heart of compassion for young men in bad circumstances like you. And what do you want to do to help those kids, Bernard?
I just I wish they would just, quit killing each other. You know what I mean? It's.
What do you think is causing that? I mean, it's in the inner city in America everywhere, and it's not poverty, because I mean there's just as many people of other races that are poor. But what is going on in the African American community to make them be killing each other so much?
Social media.
Social media?
Yeah, social media. When you and I were growing up, we didn't have all the social media. When we was fighting, I had to go, we would hire a scout. He'd go out. If you're fighting, I'm fighting you, we go out and we hire a scout to go and watch you fight. And he bring back the information, and that was provided to us. Now they just type it in and it comes up. Social media is so misleading, if you know what I mean. It's just misleading. We had to watch the old VHS tapes, and hopefully we got the right tape.
Yeah.
If I'm fighting you, you know what I mean? And now they type in the name, and it's all up on YouTube, and it's social media, and social media is raising our kids.
They don't have parents. Yeah. When I was a young man, and I'm older than you, I didn't have to worry about somebody pulling a gun on me. I mean, I got in all kinds of street fights, and I don't know why. It seemed like I always attracted that sort of thing. Mm-hmm. But, all you had to worry about was a guy, kicking your butt. You'd have to worry, every now and then somebody would pull a knife, but you didn't have to worry about somebody pulling a gun and shooting you in those days. The culture has changed so much.
Back in our days, where everybody was by all the bicycles. All the bicycles at Tony's house, and that's where everybody was. And that, that's nowadays you don't have that.
What's the answer to, what advice could you give to these young men, and they're going to look up to you because of who you are and where you've been. What advice could you give to these young men? I mean, you can't stop some of them from doing it, but there's somebody out there that would like to have a life like you've had. I mean, you're a business owner. You've got a successful business. You've been a world champion. What can somebody do to achieve their dream like you have?
They got to stay true to themselves, man, and believe in God and just trust in Him. And stay away from the negativity. It's so important. It's for me, it's easy to say because I had that structured background. You know what I mean? The first thing I did in the morning, it was when I got up, was make my bed. If I accomplished nothing else that day, I come back home, my bed's made. I still do that to this day. But it's just something that's instilled in me. You know what I mean?
You grew up military, so I mean, and that's the thing. Kids don't have any structure today.
Yeah, you're right about that. It's just and they should all get together and positive, man. I tell these guys here all the time, it's not about winning and losing, it's how you do it. You know, hey, if the guy beat me, he had a better night than I did. It's nothing that I did different. I prepared myself. It was a better night than I had, you know what I mean? We'll come back, we'll do it all over again. And the other thing I don't like is when people, at the fights, they're yelling and barking at each other. Come on, be a man. You know, hey, it's a sporting event.
That's right. Show some courtesy to one another.
Yeah.
And friends, we've got to go to a break for just a moment. You want to stick around and hear the rest of what Bernard Swiftkick Robinson's got to tell you. He's going to help you get up after life knocks you down. Hello, friend. I'm Kerry Farr, the host of In Your Corner. Thank you for watching the program today. Some time ago, we started converting the 200 programs that we've done into podcasts, and I was surprised to learn that a teaching that I did on how I overcame childhood sexual abuse has received 10 times the downloads of any other interview that we've ever done on the program. And so I realized that evidently this is something that touches every family, and people need some kind of something to help them get over the trauma that they've suffered from abuse. I've added another teaching to our podcasting site, In Your Corner with Kerry Farr, on how to overcome betrayal or overcome the pain that you've suffered when somebody divorced you or abused you or something of that sort. And so I would like to invite you to go to inyourcorner.info to listen to this podcast on how I overcame childhood sexual abuse, or this other podcast on how to overcome betrayal. You can also go to iTunes and subscribe to In Your Corner with Kerry Farr or Podcast Addict, whichever site you use to download podcasts. Thank you so much, friends, for watching the program. And I think if you're suffering some pain and sorrow from one of these issues, that this teaching will help you. Again, that's In Your Corner with Kerry Farr at iTunes or Podcast Addict, or you can even listen to it at our website, inyourcorner.info. Hello, friends. I'm Kerry Farr, the host of In Your Corner. Over the last couple of years, many of you have called us looking for resources to help family members who are battling drug or alcohol addiction. As a result, In Your Corner Ministries has developed a support group or a recovery group program called Addiction Knockout. The beautiful thing about this program is that you, a layperson, can take this material and go through it on your own, or you can start your own support or recovery group in your town, your community, in your home, your church, whatever the case may be. We'll provide the materials, and you can start your own support group to help those that you love. Go to addictionknockout.com. That's addictionknockout.com to get the material to start your own recovery group program today. Okay, folks, we're back with Bernard Swiftkick Robinson. Bernard, you're a very successful businessman, and I'm sure young men come in here all the time that want nice things. And there's a proper way to get it, right?
Absolutely.
I remember one time my dad had a handful of $100 bills. I don't remember why he had them, but I said, "Ooh, I want some of those." He said, "Well, son, I'll tell you how you can get it. You can go work." And he said, and another time he told me when I came in and was talking about something, he said, "Son, I pay my way." So my dad taught me to pay my way and taught me that if I wanted money, I was to go out and earn it. And what's your experience been? I mean, you earned every dollar you made.
Absolutely, man. I tell these guys, man, you see these people who out here driving nice cars, living in nice houses, but they work their ass off for it. And that means they don't have to look over their shoulder, knowing that somebody's gonna come and get them, or are they doing something illegal? You know what I mean? And to me, that's, you're gonna feel more achievement, a better achievement of you working for it, not just the one handed to you. You know, if it handed to you, you're not gonna respect it. You go out and earn it, man. That's the way. I don't know people robbing people who take this and take that. Hell, will and drive you right here and get it yourself.
That's right. You know, we were talking to a former drug kingpin that lives here in the city that gave his life to Jesus Christ and now has a ministry ministering to young men. And he said in one part of town, I don't remember which, he said those guys are drug dealers. He said that's how they earn their money. In the other part of town, he said these guys are robbers. So they go out and make their living by robbing people. And both of those ways are wrong because you're basically harming somebody else.
Yeah. Two rights don't make a wrong.
Yeah.
Two wrongs don't make a right, I mean.
Yeah, that's right. And so these young men, you know, don't realize that they can work and achieve and have great success just like you have.
Yeah, yeah. Man, I can't tell you how many nights I went to bed aching and sore and tired and when, I don't know if it's worth it or not, you know what I mean, but I got to keep going. I got to keep going. Maybe today was bad, tomorrow will be better. You know what I mean? Then my grandfather said, you never have a bad day. Some days just better than others.
Yeah. and so you worked and became a world champion.
Yeah.
And you know, Muhammad Ali said, the great Muhammad Ali, he said he spent hours on the road running before he danced under the lights.
Yeah.
So if somebody wants to be somebody, there's got to be some preparation, right?
Yeah. Yes, sir. You got to work, man. You got to do it. You got to push yourself. If this is your goal, if this is what you want to do, there's no shortcuts. You can't take the elevator. You got to take every step, man, to success. You got to work for it. And trust me, at the end result, you're going to love it. What did Ali say? You suffer now and live the rest of your life as a champion.
Yes,
exactly.
Sir. He said, what he said was, I hated every minute of training.
Yeah,
but I said, I'll suffer now and live forever as a champion. And going down in history, he called himself the greatest. I had the privilege of meeting him on 3 different occasions, and I saw him train in the gym at Navy Pier in Chicago. Mm-hmm. And he would stand in the middle of, there was a basketball gym in there. He would stand in the middle of the gym and throw up a basketball and be throwing hook shots in, and he'd say, I bet you Wilt Chamberlain can't do that. Or I bet you Oscar Robertson. Those were the great basketball players of those days. He was an incredible athlete, but he spent his life, you know, as we both talked about, dedicated, working hard, and became the greatest because of that.
Yeah, yeah. And all that work, man, and perseverance, then you can go out and get those nice things. You know what I mean? It's so people out here robbing people and shooting people. For what?
Yeah. I mean,
it's materialistic. It's going to be going a couple months, a year anyway. Who cares?
It's stuff. That's
yes.
Right. You know, Bernard, one of the things that we try to do at In Your Corner is, you know, I had some things that happened to me growing up, sexually abused as a child, you know, which messed with my mind for years. Then as I was older, I had a business failure. Then I lost my first wife to breast cancer, and I contemplated suicide. And I was knocked down by the circumstances of life, but I felt like God spoke to me and said, you know, when I was contemplating suicide, your daughter and your granddaughter are still alive and they need you. And I've done more in my life since that time than I ever did before. God has given me more opportunities. If somebody is knocked down, and you a person that, you know, in this sport, you always have days where you're knocked down or you're not doing as well. When somebody gets knocked down by the circumstances of life, what do they need to do to get up and become, you know, whatever God meant for them to be?
You got to challenge yourself. And once you get knocked down by life, you got to get back up, man, and just keep moving forward. It doesn't matter if you're going slow. It doesn't matter if you're going really slow. It doesn't matter if you're crawling, as long as you're moving forward.
You're just moving forward.
Yes, sir.
I remember 1985, March 15th of 1985, I managed a boxer by the name of Darrell Fast Fist Fuller. We were fighting on a Don King promoted boxing show, and we were fighting for the junior welterweight championship. And Daryl was fighting the champion, a guy by the name of Kel Special K Robin. And Daryl went out there. Robin was about 6 foot tall. Daryl was about my size, about 5'7". Daryl got knocked down in the first round. Now, I've been all over the world of boxers. I've seen guys, when they get knocked down, some of them quit. You know, some of them couldn't handle it. They'd just get out. Daryl got up, dusted himself off, picked himself up, you know, put his hands up, as we was in boxing. He put his guard up, and he went out there and he continued to fight. Along about the 5th round, he knocked this guy down, the champion, knocked him down again another time in the 9th round, and then knocked him down 2 more times in the 11th round to become the Continental of America's junior welterweight champion. And I often say to people, if Daryl hadn't got up, he would have never known the exhilaration of being a champion. So you have to get up when life knocks you down.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
And of course, we would encourage you to live right.
Absolutely.
You know, the Bible says, do unto others as you'd have them do unto you. Don't harm other people.
Right.
And as you said, put your faith in God.
Yes, sir.
And what other advice would you give someone?
Stay true to yourself. Be true to yourself. Don't let anybody deter you from your dream. Oh, that's just too hard. You should just throw in the towel. You should give up. That's when you should push more, man.
Push more when you
Yes,
feel
sir.
like one. Bernard, thank you so much for letting us use your gym and being on In Your Corner today.
Thank you. Thank you.
And friends, I want to thank you for watching In Your Corner today. Amazing story. And you know, you can contact Bernard here at Pound for Pound Boxing Gym in Nashville, Tennessee. You can look him up and find him. But I want to encourage you, friends, if you've been knocked down by the circumstances of life, to do just like the champ said. Get up, put your hands up, and keep fighting.
Yes, sir.
But I also encourage you that if you've never given your life to Jesus Christ, that you would give your life to Jesus Christ and follow Him and His principles, and you won't knock somebody in the head. You won't rob somebody. You won't, you know, as long as you stay on the straight and narrow, you'll be doing well and you'll be victorious. Friends, I want to thank you for watching In Your Corner today. We'll look forward to seeing you again on the next edition of In Your Corner.